Yeah, it is another episode of the Autumn Windbags. RJ Clifford, Juan Soto. Let's have some fun today. Apologies immediately out of the gate if my voice is off. Been fighting a sore throat the last couple days. Ironically, like whenever I get sick, it attacks literally the only part of my body that is attached to my livelihood, my throat. I don't get headaches. I don't get sore stomachs. I don't get any of that shit. It's just my throat goes to hell. My voice disappears every time I get sick. God has a sense of humor. You know what I mean?
Funny guy or girl.
Hilarious man. It'd be like if I was like a coal miner and I had like bad lungs. Like I'm a radio host and my
I got the black lung pop.
Dying of emphysema. Luckily, Popeye's had a spinach, and it really does work. Little Jameson neat, and I finally feel normal for the first time all day. Just in time to talk to all y'all. So Matthew Stafford has entered the chat. We've been talking about quarterbacks. We did a whole bit, probably like, what would we do, like 30 minutes last week on free agent quarterbacks. You know, is it going to be Aaron Rodgers? Do we roll the dice on Zach Wilson or Justin Fields? Sam Darnold's the belle of the ball currently. And then now you've got the 37-year-old multi-time Pro Bowler, fantastic quarterback for two teams, Matthew Stafford, who is, depending on who you listen to and believe, is in a certain position with the Rams. But the Rams have given him, his agent, the opportunity and the go-ahead to search for a potential trading partner. He has one year left on his deal. It sounds like he wants $40 to $50 million and some guaranteed money, which he currently does not have for the Rams. So this is so first off, Soto, I mean, this is lion season. You know, the combine starts Thursday, free agency, the official tampering starts in March 10th, 2 weeks or so.
Yeah, March 12th is the full free agency. So yeah, the 10th. So
10th is tampering, right? So it's like we're inching on that moment. How real does this feel to you? Reading the tea leaves, Soto. Think Stafford's going to get traded? Or are we just getting all hot and bothered for nothing?
Well, I think the possibility is real because I think that Stafford and the Rams are really far apart on money. Like double what he's getting paid right now. And I don't know that the Rams want to go that direction because they've been doing a good job of rebuilding that team, and I don't think that they're in a position right now to go all in on a quarterback who, as good as Stafford is 37. I think that he's much more valuable in theory to a position of a team like the Raiders who want to start winning right away, who have a head coach who's in his 70s. Who wants to win right away. So the motivation for all three sides, the Rams, the Raiders, and the Stafford, is pretty clear. The Rams want to just have everything happen the way it is, right? And I believe the reason why they're allowing Stafford to seek a trade is because they want to know what kind of money he's going to be offered out there. And if they can kind of get close, that's the Rams' motivation right now. They don't want to overpay.
It doesn't hurt the Rams at all to say, go ahead and take a look. Yeah. Like, oh, there's someone who wants to offer us a first and a second for Stafford. Okay, great. Fabulous. That makes our job easy.
You're not going
to happen. But you get my point, right? Like, it's like, all right, go out there. And if they're, and that's kind of what I mean, Soto, is I wonder if the Rams are just fishing in case there's a stupid deal out there. Again, it only takes one team, one of the other 31 NFL teams, to just be a dumbass. And we see it all the time. Every season, we're like, without question, every offseason, there's 2 or 3 players who are just like, they paid what for who? They gave up how many number ones for what?
Yeah, usually that was us.
Right? It's been us for too long, right?
Well, look, and so I think it's a little bit more involved than that. I think that the Rams are open to extending Stafford and giving him some guaranteed money over the next couple of years, if it's within their price range, if it's in what they're thinking. But they just need to see if what they're thinking is within in the ballpark of what other teams are willing to offer. Because if I'm Stafford, if I can get paid and be in a winning situation, then I would rather do that. But if not, I think he's more concerned with just getting paid.
Yeah, and that's that's what I'm getting at is where are the Rams on the spectrum of we want to keep you, but we'll take a dumbass deal from someone who goes crazy, or to the other end of the spectrum where it's like we want him out, let's see what we can get, but we'll take anything. We don't want to pay him a dime, right? Like where are they on that spectrum? And I think they're closer to the like we'll let him go than the like we want a stupid deal vein.
Mm-hmm.
That's just me reading the tea leaves a little bit about where we're at. But I will say, if you're Matthew Stafford, the Raiders look really fucking appealing. I mean, you're going to have a brilliant offensive coordinator, the highest paid offensive coordinator in football. Pete Carroll's proven winner. You get to throw to Brock Bowers. You have no income tax in Nevada. Going from California, which you and I know very well is 17%. Like 17, like 1/5 of your income you put back in your pocket. So often fans and media are like, well, they overlook it. They don't think about it. Dude, when you're talking about $150 million deals, that 17% is
massive.
Hey, Siri, what's 150 million times 0.17?
150 million times 0.17 is 25,500,000.
$25.5 million that you keep in your pocket just because you've crossed across Interstate 15 a few miles. That's insane.
That yeah.
That's more per year than anyone else on the Raiders makes. Think about that for a minute. Like the annual salary of the highest paid Raider is the difference between playing in California and playing in Nevada. That's nuts. And it was what, a 45-minute flight from LA to Vegas? Like he's basically around the corner for him.
And that is a point that's going to be made should the pitch get that far. If I'm Matthew Stafford, I'm not leaving. I'm not even entertaining the fact that he can leave the Rams for any other reason other than money. This is a money thing for Matthew Stafford.
Yeah,
of course he would rather
him and McVay work great together. He loves LA. Yeah, for sure.
He knows he can win there. You know, he likes the situation there. Maybe he's not super pumped up about not having Cooper Kupp there anymore because they're going to get rid of him. Mm-hmm. It's just it's pretty. Like I said, it's pretty cut and dry from all angles of what we're looking for here. The thing is I don't know that Matthew Stafford looks at the Raiders as good a circumstance or situation as you're making it out to be. I think he has to get sold on it a lot more.
It's better than anywhere else, I think, that would offer him. That's like feasible for him to go. Like Giants, dumpster fire. Steelers, they're offensively inept.
They're offensively inept because they don't have a quarterback.
Well, they don't have weapons like we do. Like we at least have a Brock Bowers.
There's two things that he's going to need as a 37-year-old pocket passing quarterback, and we have neither one of those.
Which we don't have.
We don't have either one. We don't have a running game, and our offensive line isn't great. That's for me. Money's great. I want to keep my head on my shoulders. I want to get my head taken off.
I think it's still better off than New York, but I mean, you're right. Like he would come on money, and he would come on money. He would come here for money.
Jesus.
And Tom Brady's pitch. Side note, how about our entire childhoods? We were forced to do like long division and arithmetic all through elementary school because our teacher said, well, you're not always going to have a calculator on you. And then I just was able to do the $150 million math in 4 seconds without lifting a thumb. I could just use my voice on my phone. What a waste. What a waste of like every math class from 1st to 5th grade.
What was that thing now? It's like the big thing for me when I was in school is like, when you go to the store to buy ice cream, like how are you going to know if you get the right change if you can't do math in your head? And I'm like, you just tap, like, dude, the machine says it. It's good. Just tap your phone on it. And you pay. That's it. I never used to use the tap, but my chick got me into it, and it's actually like probably the safest way to do it because it like gives a different number every single time you do it.
Really? I didn't know that.
It assigns like a different code, like a different number to that account, so no one can steal it if you tap.
No shit.
Yeah,
I had no idea.
It's like the safest way to pay is through tap.
Because I'm inverse. I just feel like, because like I'm just super jaded where I feel like, so like I never update the software on my phone because I'm just assuming that it's Elon Musk and Google and Apple just like adding more spyware to my phone. I just assume like our overlords are just trying to like penetrate my brain even more to sell me like more bullshit from influencers. So the fact that it's that you're saying that, like, I'm gonna have to look that up because I would just assume the scan is just, oh, that's how they're gonna track what your purchases are, see where you are when you bought something. It's just another way for the eye in the sky to follow my purchases and like sell me bullshit on Instagram. I gotta research that.
Well, I mean, the tap is either through Apple or through Google,
and
there's
also I really trust those two companies.
And there's also tap apps that are like through your banking company as well.
Ironically, those are the two companies that pay us: Google through YouTube and Apple Podcasts. We love you guys. Thank you.
Yeah, man, I know what you're talking about. I love Apple and Google.
I for one welcome our internet overlords and the money they pour into our accounts. I still think Matthew Stafford would probably want Vegas over New York, although I'm with you 100% that he's not moving. The primary reason will be Kashish. And this is the difference. And this is the part where it does matter to Stafford, because while there isn't technically, well, not technically in any way, shape, or form, a no trade clauses in his contract where he can just like veto anything, he does have the ability to just like retire or say no or sit out. Like he's a 37-year-old veteran with no guaranteed money and 1 year left on his contract. So that's awesome for us because now he needs to sign off on it and the Rams need to sign off on it as a team. Whereas before, if it was just like you go where you're told, we just have to bribe the Rams to get him. It's just like, all right, highest bidder, give the Rams whatever the hell they want if we really want him and get him. Now it's a matter of, all right, if we're where Stafford wants to go, the Rams are in a, like, Stafford can go to the Rams and kind of be like a take it or leave it. So this whole idea, like normally a 37-year-old quarterback with a Super Bowl under his belt, multiple Pro Bowls, success with two different teams could command, a lot of draft picks and a big trade. But because he has leverage here, like 80% of the leverage, we could get away with switching first rounders, second rounder straight up. Like, I think we can get like something that low for real.
Of course, the Rams are going to say they want a first rounder for Matthew Stafford. Mm-hmm. And honestly, if we got Matthew Stafford and paid him the same amount, the $27 million he's going to make this season, that's worth it. Mm-hmm. Right? You're getting a franchise quarterback for half the price you would normally get one for. And
we would for sure extend him, right? Like if we got him,
we would. But like what I'm saying is the same money. But the thing is, we're not doing that. We're having to pay him a ton of money and give up assets for him. It's not going to work that way. The Rams aren't going to get anything like that. They'll get a second, maybe a third and something else, but they're not going to get a first round pick. Yeah.
What's the Rams draft pick? Rams draft pick.
What are they, like 23?
20 something, right? What draft pick? The Rams first round pick, 26th.
Okay.
I could see a swapping of firsts. They get the 6th, so they get 26.
Dude, that's like 26 is just good as getting a second round pick.
Well, that's why they always traded their first, right? The Rams, because they're always just like, oh yeah, we're going to be picking in the high 20s because we're going to always go deep into the playoffs. So let's keep trading away our first rounders. Yeah, I'm thinking, obviously I'd rather go lesser, but I think realistically, who is the competition, right? I think the Rams are the number one. Rams are number one, right? I think him staying. Honestly, if I had to be, if I'm a gambling man, you're like, all right, all odds on the table, everything's even money. Where does he land? I would probably say Rams. I think he probably works it out there. But then after that, I think we're number 2. I mean, who we got? We got Jams potentially, Steelers
Giants,
potentially,
Jets, Tennessee. Those are probably the only
Tennessee has number 1 overall, so I'll be curious to see if they would go quarterback. They probably want to go all, commit heavy on Stafford. Jets don't have the cap space we do. Well, they could make it work if they really wanted to.
No, they can't.
No,
there's no way they can make it work. They're still owing money to Aaron Rodgers, who's not even playing for them. They can't. They're not able to do it.
Jets.
Not for the money that Stafford's going to require this season.
I don't know their cap space at the top of their head. Let me see.
No, I looked into it. They have. It's not great. It's not a great situation. I mean, it's not Saints bad, but it's not like they don't have a ton of cap.
They have $23.8 million available in 2025.
No way, dude. There's no way they can do that. He makes more right now already. That's before.
So they'd have to. Well, yeah, it wouldn't be straight up. They'd have to restructure like Quinn Williams or something.
Dude,
but to my point. To my point, we're a way better situation than the Jets. They could pull it off, but it would be, and are they going to win?
I mean, we're in a better position than the Jets for sure. Here's the only way I can see this happening is when there's like a no limit poker, right? If someone has a strong arm, that means they have a lot of chips. They have a lot of money. And if they can strong arm you, they can bully a lot of people of a lot of pots, right? So if we pull a strong arm on the Rams and say, we're going to give you 3 years, $165 million. Rams are like, fuck, we can't do that. We're not going to be able to do that. So now they're going to have to they're going to have to figure out a trade because that's what Stafford's like. Okay, well, I'm worth this.
And that's the move, right? Instead of giving up instead of draft capital, it's cap space.
Yeah.
Because we got a fuck ton of it, right?
And we can still move back and we can still trade back and fill more of those like backup and like special teams roles with rookie contracts as opposed to having to pay veteran minimums, which are more expensive. So there's different ways you can make this work. But the move is use your cap space, use your strong arm, get the quarterback that you need, and fill them with guys that studs and duds. Get your 1 or 2 guys that you want to get in free agency on top of that, but then a bunch of lower paying guys and figure it out from there.
We would have to prepare ourselves for Kelly Stafford, his wife. She's all about like, dude. I have my podcast. I want to be part of the story. I'm always by his side. I want to be in the commercials.
I can't wait for Raider Nation to get their hands on her. They would crush her.
We would want to defend our QB1's wife. No. That would be my initial reaction is to defend Kelly Stafford because you circle the wagons around your own. But it'd be tough, dude.
Dude, do you think that Matthew Stafford even likes Kelly Stafford? I don't even think he likes her anymore, dude. I think he kind of think it's kind of funny if Raider Nation crushes her.
I want whatever makes Matthew play better, and if it's like keeping the wife happy wife, happy life.
I mean, look, he's going to be in the friggin' facility really early and really late because he wants to stay away from the house.
Touche. That's a great point. That's a fantastic unhappy marriage. You want to do whatever it takes to be away.
One of the guys from the gym just got married a couple weeks ago. Great freaking wedding. And he told us like the week of the wedding, he's like, hey man, I want to be gone for a little while. Like I just got a wife and I got a kid and I need to make sure I spend time with them and this and that. He was gone for 1 week.
I was gonna say what, Monday after the wedding, he's in the gym?
No, like that. He gets married on Friday, right? He's the whole last week he was gone. And he came back on Monday. We're like, dude, what the hell? And he's like, yeah, dude, the wife told me, like, you're driving me nuts, dude. Get out of the house.
Because normally I love wives and girlfriends that get themselves involved. Because I like to think of myself as semi-respectful, right? I have a mom, I have a wife, I have a daughter, I have 2 sisters. I go by like the shit talking rules of combat sports, where it's like everything's on the table except family. You leave family out of it, right? I'll shit talk your gym. I'll shit talk your face. I'll shit talk your criminal history. Everything about you. We'll talk trash. Family stays out of it. And I abide by those rules. That is a standard that I keep. However, the second the wife, girlfriend, spouse, whoever inserts herself into the conversation by starting a TikTok, starting a podcast, trash talking, inserting herself into a presser, fair game. It is fair game. You have signed the waiver. You have decided, I want to be in this cesspool of sports shit talking. Therefore, once you start slinging, we can sling it back at you. And Kelly Stafford has begged the sports world to come at her with how much she talks.
Yeah, dude. Like, that's what we were talking about last season with Mahomes and Taylor Swift. When we were getting all over them for crying after they lost to the Raiders. It's just like, they're public figures. They put themselves out there.
You signed the waiver.
Yeah, if they didn't want to be out in the forefront, there's no free lunch here. There's no free passes, okay? You can't just pick. It's not a buffet here. Life is not a buffet. You can't just pick and choose the things that you want and not take the rest. If you want to be in the public eye, if you want to be a public figure, you're going to get public scrutiny. That's just the way it is. If you want to be away from public scrutiny, then stay out of the spotlight. And, you know, you bring it on
craving the spotlight, right? Like, I think of like with Kirk Cousins on Hard Knocks, right? Like Julie Hampton, his wife. She's like, okay, like we have to talk to the wife on this show. So Julie, like, I'll do my interview. I'll just talk about Kirk. I won't talk about anybody else. I'll just be, you know, she's off limits, completely off limits. She's just doing her job. Okay, I'll talk about his goofy t-shirts and how great of a father he is. Like, I'm not gonna trash like okay, she's off limits. That's different, right? She's not craving the spotlight. She's not grabbing the spotlight. Patrick Mahomes' wife, she's like, please look at me. Hey, where's the spotlight? Let me find it. Where are the cameras? Camera A, camera B. Where am I looking at? Right? Okay. Blah, 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 blah. Raiders suck. Blah, blah, blah. Patrick Mahomes the best. It's like, okay, bitch. You want it. You want that smoke.
Bring it on yourself, man.
Here it comes.
And it's not like we're gonna go after her just because. You know, like, you have to give us something to go after. Mm-hmm. So it's not just that you're in the public eye. You put yourself open for that if you're in the public eye, but you also have to do something to get our attention. So it's like double now. You're making yourself available to be scrutinized, and then you're doing something idiotic for us to go after you on. So there's no remorse on my side.
It's like the second, like if you're in the audience watching the UFC, like, you're going to be safe. The second you jump over that octagon wall in there onto the canvas, it's like, okay, like, you wanted to be here. Laws, the rules are different here, and you chose to come. Along those same lines, so there was conflicting reports. Jordan Schultz of Fox was initially the one that reported that Tom Brady was, for lack of a better word, hosting Matthew Stafford in Montana. So it's like straight up like, hey, I'm going to try to like sway you, get you to come to the Raiders. Hey, come hang out at my cabin, come party with me. Let's talk. We were like, and you know, initially like, we were texting back and forth. We were like, all right, that's literally Brady's job. You need to start schmoozing, right? Like, if you can save us $10 million, save us the difference between a first and second round pick because you can get Stafford on our side. That's what you're doing here, Tommy. That's why you're here. Ian Rappaport reported later that no, they just happen to have houses in the same area. They just happen to be randomly vacationing at the same time. You're in a place where billionaires go to vacation in February. So it's like, you know, not that uncommon that 100 millionaire Matthew Stafford and 100 millionaire Tom Brady their snowboards would bump into each other at lift 4, right? It's not that uncommon, you know? And apparently it got feisty. There's a report that Schultz went to Ian Rappaport of NFL Network over the scoop of Tom Brady, and they flipped out on each other. Schultz screamed at Rappaport, got in his face, says, we have a problem. And I know what you're thinking. It's like, oh, did they punch each other? Did they throw down? Was there a physical altercation? When two men have a beef, did they settle it like gentlemen? No. Ian Rappaport went and cried to NFL security and said he yelled at me. Make him stop.
Still can't say it. So word that starts with a G and rhymes with Ray.
Good day.
Good day.
Good
That's
day.
what it is. That's probably one of the biggest bitch moves I've ever heard.
Ian Rappaport does look like a dude that would go to the principal. He looks like a guy that in high school would
so much respect for me. I follow him. I read his stuff when he's on, even if he's not talking about the Raiders. I'll just get some insight into how he thinks. It's fine. But now I'm like, bro, that's not even where you want to be as a person in life.
Ian Rappaport looks like a dude that would squeal to the principal for someone smoking weed in his class.
That's just ridiculous. That's just absolutely ridiculous.
He's the guy that would be really, he reminds me of a guy that would be really, really like overly excited to be hall monitor. You're like, oh, I get a sash and a clipboard. I'm so powerful.
He's the guy that'd be like, ooh, ooh, ooh. He wasn't in his seat when the bell rang. God, there was a guy, I think his name was Arthur. God, that guy was such a freaking jerk, man. He was a cool guy and everything, but dude, this guy was. I think he liked our teacher. That's why, dude. This dude, he would. You couldn't do anything.
In fairness, Jordan Schultz is like sticking to his report. He like subtweeted, "Hey, if you think it's a coincidence, I got a bridge to sell you." Blah blah blah. So Jordan's sticking to it. Tom's squealing. I don't know who's right. I don't think it even like is really that big of a deal. It's so weird, man. Like media beefs are the most interesting, uninteresting things ever.
They're so lame.
Because people care so much. But what's the best resolution to this? They're mean to each other on Twitter. One of them complains to NFL security. Like they're not going to fight. They're not going to do anything cool. They're not going to get in a debate. They're going to be chicks about it. Worse, chicks will at least like really get in your face. They'll get like Real Housewives of NFL. Pelissero and Schultz are just like, I'm going to yell at him and then he's going to slink away and cry and one of us is wrong.
He's going to tell on me.
You're going to tattletale.
So lame, dude. So freaking lame.
So they bumped into each other at the Combine, which starts Thursday. As you're listening to this, it'll probably be starting right as you're listening to this. When I did my weekly thing with Cofield, and his opening thing was like on Tuesday. He's like, "Where are you on the Combine? You live and die by those numbers? Is it a really big deal? Do you not even kind of care at all?" I'm like, honestly, what I like the most about the Combine is NFL coaches, GMs, scouts, sometimes even owners do media. Like Pete Carroll talked to SiriusXM, told like Napa's going to be where training camp's going to be this season, which I thought was great. You know, it's like, that's breaking news. I didn't know that. Right. Like, and then we'll get to that later in the show, but it's like, that's kind of me. That's kind of more where like I get into it. And there's always risers and fallers from Combine scores. We have this conversation every year. So I feel like we're on kind of the same page. Like there's, it's the NFL is insanely good at staying in the headlines in the Combine. Literally the same month as the Super Bowl. It's the same month as the Super Bowl. And they're going to completely dominate headlines for the next week because they have a bunch of quarterbacks measure their hands. I think that's basically what it is.
I mean, the main thing, there's two big things to come out of the Combine. All right. There's the media, like you said, and then there's the medical. That's the two main things. And this is breaking news. This is 9 p.m. on Wednesday in the evening. Abdul Carter has a stress reaction in his foot. So he can have preemptive surgery to correct it, or he can see if it'll correct on its own. But he's no longer a clean prospect. He has a medical flag now. which is why this stuff is so important. You're welcome.
The only other part that I could potentially make interesting out of this is who the Raiders talk to. I think there's some value to that, a little bit. Tristan Kuhn tweeted out on this morning, Wednesday morning, the Raiders have met with the following players at the Combine. 8 players, all defensive players, all front 7 players. Not one running back, not one receiver, not one quarterback, not one corner. 8 defensive players. Michigan defensive tackle Mason Graham, UNLV inside linebacker Jackson Woodard, UCLA inside linebacker Carson Schweissinger, Marshall edge Mike Green, LSU edge Braden Swinson, Ohio State edge JT Tumaloa, Oklahoma inside linebacker Danny Stutzman, Ohio State inside linebacker Cody Simon. 8 players, Soto, all front 7.
Yeah.
It kind of go again. Clearly, they can draft someone they don't talk to. Clearly, they can talk to somebody they're not going to draft. But I do feel like only because this fits the narrative of what Pete Carroll's been saying, that like they want to build from like the defensive front back. I think we might pick up one of these guys, 1 or 2. I don't think it's crazy.
I think the only 2 that we could get. I mean, look, there's only 2 first-round players on this list: Mason Graham and Mike Green. Everyone else is like, honestly, probably 4th round and back. Which is not necessarily a bad thing because there's some good players here. I would say maybe then one guy that can move up would probably be Braden Swinson. Everyone else is they're not ready to be full-time starters in the NFL unless they take a huge leap from where they were in college. I've watched a lot of tape, man, and my eyes are going to fall out of my head. But each one of these guys has a lot of improvement to do on their game if they're going to be an every down player or maybe even a sub package guy. These are all most of these guys, like all the linebackers except for the Ohio State edge. They're all special teams guys for right now, and maybe sub package guy. But
other than Green and Graham, right? The other side.
Yeah, and Green and Graham, who are the first round picks. Everyone else is like 3rd day guys on here. I mean, maybe Brady Swinson could be a 3rd round pick, maybe, but everyone else they're all 4th and back.
I think also it's not so much like who they talk to, but like who they didn't talk to. Just no skill players, no one on offense, no corners. I wonder if it's just like, hey, we just think like front 7 guys are more interesting to talk to. Like we're just trying to start a podcast. And here's the guys we want to talk to.
I mean, it's they still have what 24 more, right? 8 guys. Yeah, they got 32. So, and we'll see. We'll see.
Maybe it was like they had the best breakfast buffet on Wednesday. So like, okay, let's talk to like the front 7 guys because we get the most ham and eggs. Then when we start switching to like kale smoothies, we'll talk to quarterbacks and wide receivers. Let's make sure we talk to let's talk to the beefy guys when we got beef on the table, you know?
Right. I got steak and eggs today.
Right. All right. Mason Graham, saddle up, partner.
Show ass over
Look
here.
hungry. So the NFLPA survey, it's like randomly our the Raiders Super Bowl because we do so well on it on a regular basis. We haven't won a lot, but hot damn, our players are happy with us, you know, which is nice, you know, it's nice to know. And in fairness, it's not nothing, right? Like it's not players that come here that are happy here. It's more than 0% how much they enjoy the facility, the coach, the dietitian, the field, like all that kind of stuff. So, you know, it's just nice to toot our own horn on something. The Raiders scored really good on it. 9th out of 32 teams. A little lower than last season, but still in the top 10. As always, the food, locker room, weight room, strength, like that facility, phenomenal. nutrition A-, locker room A-, weight room A+. Is that Deuce Gruden? He's just like, hey guys, we're gonna have the most tech. Our hack machine is gonna be anti-gravity. Like, is that? I like to assume it's Deuce Gruden, just making sure that it's like a NASA scientist laboratory in the weight room.
So wait a second. I got a different grading than you're showing.
I got this straight from the NFLPA. Oh, this is 2024. That explains it. 2025.
You got juked, son.
I got juked. NFLPA 2025 Raiders grade.
Yeah, because we got an A in everything except for treatment of families, which was a B+. Everything else.
Well, Mark Davis doesn't have any kids, so he hates. So that makes sense.
Ozempic.
What do we score?
I mean, I can read it off to you that I have here in my notes.
Do it.
Treatment of
Fourth
families
overall
with B+.
for everything.
Treatment of families with B+. Food and dining area was an A. Nutritionist, dietitian was A+. Locker room A-. Training room A. Training staff A-. Weight room A+. Strength coaches A. Team travel A. Head coach A-. Ownership A.
Nothing below a B+.
Yep.
Remember last year, head coach was a D. It was last. It was literally last. Josh McDaniels.
Literally
D's
last.
nuts. Yeah, I think that whole like weight room and shit, that's the most important part. Training facility, diet, weight room, like childcare services. That's always nice.
I
Like,
think
are you,
more so than that, it's the treatment of families is like what are their accommodations if they travel for games?
Mhm.
How easy is it for them to get in and out of the facility, stuff like that? What kind of access do they have to the players after the games? And just I think it's more so like the ease of travel for them, not just like.
I wonder if we scored lower because they had to deal with Josh Jacobs like 7 kids for so long. They're like, look, dude, we only have 9 family buses. We can't have you taking up a whole one by yourself.
Got a lot of love to give.
He's just giving love in all the wrong places or in all the right places.
He lived in a car for a while. He wants to fill up a van with kids.
Mm-hmm. So other news, according to Pete Carroll did an interview with SiriusXM, the Raiders are heading back to Napa for training camp. Back to their old stomping grounds. They were in Costa Mesa, where like around the corner.
Were they really there? Because nobody saw them.
They did, right? They weren't allowed to be there according to NFL rules. They had to be ghosts.
So lame, dude. That's
one of 5 NFL teams in SoCal.
A passive aggressive move. Okay, you can be there, but you can't tell anybody. You can't have any fans. You can't tell anyone you're there. I'm like, dude, what?
So the story is because the Rams and the Chargers have the rights to the LA market. The Raiders, who are the number 1 team in Southern California, all of our listeners that live here know that. The number 1 team in SoCal. Without a question. There's no close second. Despite the fact the Raiders have lost and they've moved to Vegas. So
when I'm driving like in normal life, I see like infinitely more Raiders bumper stickers, Raiders decals, Raiders logos on cars than anything else.
Jerseys on people.
Jerseys.
Hats. Like hats. It's not even close. It's Raiders
Even
territory.
Costco sells Raiders shit.
It's Raiders territory.
Costco and Sam's Club sells Raider gear.
Dude, the only time you see like Rams and Chargers gears taking over like an end table at like a grocery store or a liquor store or something like that, it's because it's like a national branding campaign. And Corona is like, oh, LA, that's Rams and Chargers legal territory. We'll sell Rams and Chargers branded Coronas here. And you know what? Those end tables are always full because no one's buying that shit. Right? When you're going to the guys that actually sling units and move merch, the dudes in like back alleys with like bootleg t-shirts, it's all Raider shit. You know what I mean? Like,
So look,
unless you're literally at SoFi on Rams or Chargers game day, everything in Southern California is Raiders.
and if the Rams are playing the Raiders at SoFi, guess what? All the vendors on the streets are selling.
They're moving units, and those units are silver and black.
So I went to Sam's Club, right? And because I have a Sam's Club and a Costco, because I like different things at different places. But the Sam's Club one,
humble brag.
I'm making a little bit of money now. I'm not gonna tell anybody, but there will be signs.
There will be signs.
Sam's
Club and Costco membership.
I go in there, and there's a huge display of a Raiders pop-up with Raiders like those wooden decoration things you hang on your wall, like you could put on your front porch or whatever. Raiders, cornhole game, Raiders, picnic chairs, Raiders, coolers, Raiders, freaking what are those called? Stanley's, Raiders. Everything's Raiders, right? Like a whole picnic setup, Raiders. And then I come back next, and it's all Ram stuff, and I'm like, dude, what happened with the Raider stuff? And some guy working there was like, oh, it's sold out. And I'm like, oh, so you just put the Ram stuff up? He's like, no, we've had the Ram stuff up forever. It's just been sitting there. No one's buying it. I'm like, okay. So the Raider stuff sold out. So they had to put up something, and they put the Ram stuff up, and it's been there forever because no one's buying the shit.
It's the most like NFL thing ever, where it's like, well, rules say that the fans, and like that's the smugness of the NFL, where it's like, all right, we're gonna like shove this square peg into a round hole. Like we're gonna make Southern California NFL fans become Rams and Chargers fans. Like how dumb is that? Like you have die-hard fans of your product, NFL, like Raiders fans. And you're like, nope. We're not going to cultivate that. We're not going to manicure that. We're not going to let the Raiders make, dude, if I could have taken my daughter to Raiders training camp at Costa Mesa and she could have just like had her mind blown. Wow. Like watch how fast they run. Look at that ball getting thrown. This is so cool. Like look, she's going to be a diehard Raiders fan her entire life, no matter what. But if I could have like cultivated that, if I could have made, like, I'm not going to take her to a Rams or Chargers anything, like no one's going to, but if I could have made her a football fan for life by giving her that experience, and the NFL is like, no, it's Chargers Rams territory. No, we're not going to do that. No, that's stupid. That's bad. They have the rights to it.
I understand what you're saying, but I just find it hard to criticize anything that the NFL does, because they're just like, they're bigger than U.S. Steel, to quote Hyman Roth. They're bigger than U.S. Steel, man, and they just keep making money.
Well, they're not bigger than U.S. Steel. They're the same size as Sherwin-Williams paint, so they could be bigger. But I get your point. They're the biggest thing in sports, for sure. And the biggest thing in sports is heading back to Napa. So, as I've said before on this show, and new listeners probably don't know that, but my wife works for Marriott, and so when the Raiders always stay at Marriott's where they go. So I've known exactly where what hotel the Raiders are staying at every training camp. Now, in respect to my wife, I don't want her to get in trouble, so I haven't said it publicly, but if people have asked me, I've DM'd them, and if like you really want to know, I'll let you know. Good old Adam Hill doesn't have the same scruples. Straight up tweeted where they're staying, which is great. Adam Hill tweeted from the Las Vegas Review Journal, friend of the show, Adam Hill, multiple guest. For what it's worth, you can book the hotel the Raiders use in Napa during the dates of training camp, but the prices would indicate something is going on there. $1,878 a night to stay at the Napa Valley Marriott Hotel and Spa. That is 10 times the price it would normally be on a random spring Thursday. Clearly, that's where they're staying, right?
Spring like night of your buddies.
All right. Like when you go to Vegas when you're 19, you're like, all right, we can fit 8 of us at the Excalibur in one room.
Dude, we've had a couple of those nights.
Way more than I like to admit.
Oh, when Anderson Silva broke his leg against Chris Weidman.
Chris Weidman. Yep. We were all there. A lot of days like that. $1,878. you know, you don't have to be Columbo to be like, yeah, I think I know where the Raiders are staying at the training camp.
One more question. No, it's Columbo. That's what he used to say.
Yeah. Well, here there's just one thing that's bothering me. Like he acts all dumb, you know.
One more thing.
And like he like wink his eye. Like yeah, there's just one thing I don't
That
understand.
lazy eye of his.
Yeah. With his trench coat and shit.
So badass. That thing had a stink, dude.
And that was back when like being Italian meant you were like really, really like ethnic. They're like, whoa, they got an Italian detective on primetime. Wow.
Family Guy. Bibbidi bobbidi bibbidi.
Yeah, that's so edgy. Wow, these guys they're really ahead of their time. They have that kind of white in a trench coat. You can stay at the Spring Hill Suites down the street for $217. Also an option.
Yeah, but do you get the same access? Do you get to hang out by the pool?
You have to jump over the fence and pretend like you work there. The only way.
I mean,
we do some more Windbags?
Yeah, man, let's do it.
We're going quick because Papa ain't feeling great. LV Raiders 67. Why does my Raiders have to be the home for every washed out player that is cut from other teams? If your career is over, but you need one more payday, the Raiders are your salvation. When was the last time that was the case? I mean, it certainly was under Gruden. That is 100% correct.
Yeah. Well, and also under McZiegler.
Mm-hmm.
They got rid of a lot of good guys and brought in a bunch of their guys. Just they weren't upgrades.
Mm-hmm.
They were just their guys, and they paid him a ton of money too.
Well, it was who are the Chandler's the obvious one.
Chandler Jones.
Chandler Jones was obvious.
In the fullback, the long snapper. I mean, Jacoby Myers ended up being a good one.
Yeah, that was a great signing. Yeah. I would say that's the second best thing that happened from the McZiegler era. Number one is Patrick Graham. We got Patrick Graham. They hired him. Props to that. And then Jacoby Myers.
Yeah,
because that hasn't really been the case the last couple seasons.
No.
I like how all it takes is 2 seasons of it not happening, and all of a sudden I'm like, no, you're living in the past. No, that's a whole other era. You're crazy. Like, no, dude,
it's a new era. It's a new day.
It's a whole new day. Like, yeah, like, dude, stop looking in the rearview mirror. Look at the windshield. You know, look to the future. Yeah, man, that
not wrong.
What was the name of the video we did on the Gruden signings? Like the top 10 free agents we signed and how bad every one of them was.
Oh God, it was
awful. And the top 10 draft picks and how bad they all were. Like,
fuck, dude.
That's a video that we made that I purged from my memory.
Freaking Littleton, Brown,
and
that's just 4 right there.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm getting PTSD already.
We made that video and I immediately purged it from my memory. I was like, oh, this hurts so bad.
God, it's so bad. And then you see freaking Mayock on Rich Eisen just kind of smiling. Yeah, I remember when I was with the Raiders. Yeah. What happened when you were with the Raiders?
Mm-hmm. Dumbass. I wonder, you know how you can do like a Google word search, like a word cloud of how many times they say that? How many times does Mayock do an interview and say the words Maxx Crosby? Which I can't blame him. Right?
Like with Maxx
Crosby. Hi, did I Maxx Crosby? How much I Maxx Crosby? Let me tell you Maxx Crosby about the Maxx Crosby that I've Maxx Crosby before. Now I can I've seen 2 or 3 Maxx Crosbys, but this Maxx Crosby will really Maxx Crosby or Maxx Crosby.
Now there's Maxx Crosbys in the world, and then there's Maxx Crosbys.
If I was him, I would do the same thing. I'd be just saying Darren Waller and Maxx Crosby over and over and over and over and over again.
Jesus.
Anthony Provencio 6633. I'm surprised about no mentions of Marcus Mariota. I'd love to bring him back to run the Chip Kelly offense. I'd take him as the backup quarterback for sure. Absolutely.
I mean, he showed a little bit of juice when he got to play last season. Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
as a backup. But look, ultimately, you have to think in terms of, is Marcus Mariota going to be able to win you games? And if you feel that way, then yes. Because in the modern NFL, the way the NFL is going, you're playing 17 games, soon to be 18 games. This is all, just admit it. They're going to be 18 games soon. Okay.
Mm.
You're going to need more than one quarterback. And if you have a Marcus Mariota where you're going to pay him Marcus Mariota money, he's going to be your backup. If you're comfortable with what he's shown you, with all his limitations and everything, he can be a quarterback that can win games for you, then fine. No problem. I have no problem with the signing. I personally wouldn't sign him, but if you feel that he can win games for you, okay, then I will have to go along with what you're thinking because you're the professional or whatever. But it's not just as good as, let's make up the backup. No, because the backups are way more important
now. They're arguably top 5 most important positions in the NFL is your backup quarterback. Like, how many starting NFL quarterbacks who started week 1 started week 18 in the NFL? Like, less than 2/3.
There's the big 5 positions, right? Quarterback, edge rusher, offensive tackle, receiver, and corner. Okay, those are the top 5 positions. All right, those are top 5 paid positions. After that is your backup quarterback.
Because he's going to play.
Because if you don't have a good one,
he's going to play.
He's going to play. It's not a if, it's a when.
He had a 1-year, $6 million deal, 5.3 guaranteed at signing last year with Washington. He'll get less than that this year.
Every year he's going to get less and less.
I mean, I will say this. If I'm going to have a backup it depends what the priorities are at backup quarterback, right? Like if our starting quarterback is, for sake of conversation, right? I'm not saying this is who I want, but let's say the Raiders sign Kirk Cousins. Okay. Whoever their backup quarterback is, they're going to want to at least maybe have that quarterback potentially develop to be the starting quarterback, right? Like Kirk Cousins is clearly just like a very, very brief Band-Aid. So the backup should be like a Justin Fields, a Zach Wilson, or whichever young quarterback you think that maybe could develop, right? That you're just like take a swing at. It's not Marcus Mariota. Marcus Mariota he's 32. You know what I mean? He is who he is. He's a backup quarterback. And so if you think, okay, he can run the ball a little bit. He can run Chip Kelly's offense. That would have to be the perfect situation for Marcus Mariota. But yeah, I'm not against it, but he does fit a very specific niche. And it's really just the niche with the Raiders because of Chip Kelly, more or less. A handful of other running offenses. Sam Demand, thank you so much for being a member. I'd like to recommend my boy RJ start watching Raiders versus the World.
I didn't even read that.
I'll tell you, Sam, I don't miss an episode.
You asshole.
I don't miss an episode of Raiders versus the World.
Yeah, man. Good stuff. Nice guy.
I want to go that far, but it's there's quality Raiders content. So Soto has started another YouTube channel, Raiders versus the World. It is on our homepage. If you go to the bottom to links, it's down there if you want to check it out. It's great because this channel is me and Soto bullshitting for an hour. Soto does like a 6-minute, 8-minute, 10-minute news of the day type thing. Very different format, right? That I just don't have the time.
It's just quick. It's super edited, and it's just like bang, 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 bang. It gives you a little bit of a little nugget every single day. I have it set up to give you a little nugget every single day.
And there's full frontal nudity, so you got 2 things going for you.
I mean, it's a cat, but whatever. It's there.
It counts. Still pussy. Still pussy. All right, that's it for us. We will keep an eye on Matthew Stafford. If anything crazy happens from the combine, not likely, we'll let you know. We may be a day late next week due to my travel schedule. We'll let you guys know about that. But otherwise than that, business as usual. And so until then, knock on wood if you're with me. Hey, you made it to the end of our video. Great job. I know you want more. Go ahead and click the next video. And if you're feeling crazy, go ahead and subscribe.